Instead, at the altar lay a drawing, her face and Obinna's, bound together by snakes. Her heart nearly stopped behind her. Whispered, "You shouldn't be here." She turned. Obinna stood there, eyes glowing, his breath shallow, his face paused faintly in the dark, and the largest pimple on his cheek glowed red. "You've opened too many doors," he said. "Now, you must help me close them." Adanne took a step backward. Help you close them? But I don't even know what I've done." Obinna's voice shook. "It's not just about what you did. It's about who you are. You were born under the same moon that sealed me, the same eclipse. You are the echo, the one fated to reflect me." Adanne blinked. "Reflect you?" He nodded, his jaw clenched. The elders feared the demon's energy might leak from the vessel over time, so they created a counter, a mirror soul born a generation later, a balance. That mirror is you. Adanne fell to her knees. "You were saying I was made to bind you?" Obinna looked away. "Not bind, contain. But now you've gotten too close. The balance is shifting. The demon stares. From deep within the forest, a howl rose, not animal, not human, something primal, something ancient. The ground rumbled, and birds fled the trees in frantic flight. Obinna winced and held his chest. "It's waking." They rushed to Mama Nneka's hut. The herbalist didn't seem surprised to see them. She was already drawing circles on the floor with white chalk. "You've less time than I hope," she said. "We must perform the mirror rite before the red moon." Adanne whispered, "What happens if we don't?" Mama Nneka's eyes glistened. "The demon will rip through Obinna and find a new body. Yours. You are its key. You are its prize. It will wear your face as it destroys this land." The rite was ancient, requiring silence, blood, and trust. Obinna stood inside a drawn circle, Adanne in another. Between them, a shallow clay bowl filled with goat blood. Mama Nneka began to chant. The candlelight flickered. Adanne's vision blurred. She saw flashes, vision not her own. A temple in flames, a child screaming as a dark force leaked into its body. A council of ancestors arguing whether to kill the baby or seal the evil. Then she saw herself, not as she was, but older, eyes black, standing over a field of dead villagers, laughing. Her stomach turned. A wind burst through the hut, extinguishing the candles. Mama Nneka screamed. "It's broken the boundary." Obinna collapsed to the floor, twitching. The largest pimple on his face cracked, and something black and smoky hissed from it. Adanne backed away. The air became heavy with wrath and fire. "Don't run," Mama Nneka shouted. "You are the seal now. If you run, it will chase you forever." Adanne was frozen. The thing that merged from Obinna's cheek began to take shape. A horned figure, eyes hollow, mouth wide, with sharp white teeth. It spoke three voices, at least. "The mirror shatters. The path is broken." Mama Nneka raised her staff, which glowed faintly. She slammed it on the floor, and the huff filled with a binding light. The demon hissed and shrank back, clawing the air. But it wasn't retreating. It was circling. "You have one night," the old woman gasped. "One night before the moon turns red. Only then can the true rite be completed, and only where it began at the old shrine." The village of Umuokpara didn't sleep that night. The wind moaned like window, and shadows moved without source. Fires flickered with blue flames, and all the dogs in the village hollowed through the hills. People stayed inside, whispering prayers they had forgotten. Adanne tightened her wrapper and gripped the small gourd of ash Mama Nneka gave them. "Rub it on your chest. When the shadows come too close," the old woman had said, "and never ever speak your true name in the hills." Obinna walked beside her, face pale, the crack on his skin now glowing faintly like the embers of a dying fire. He looked weaker, each step a struggle, but he refused to slow down. I can feel the locks breaking. We don't have much time. They closed the river by the sacred stones, where no birds ever perched. The land changed here. The air grew colder, heavier. Trees bent unnaturally. The ground had no footstep, though many had passed this path in ancient times. Just past the rivers of Treat, a jagged stream with rocks shaped fang, they saw them, tall, grey figures, their heads wrapped in cloth, flocking just above the ground. They didn't speak, they only stared. Obinna whispered, the guardian of the forgotten path. Adanne clutched the guard. What do we do? Don't speak, he replied. Let your heart speak for you. They walked slowly, eyes lowered, breath held. One of the grey spirits floated forward and hovered before Adanne. Its cloth unraveled slightly, revealing a face, no mouth, only dark pits where eyes should have been. Adanne's chest turned. She reached for the ash and smeared it across her collarbone. The spirit hissed and faded back into the mist. The others followed. The path cleared. They climbed in silence. The hill grew steeper, the air thinner. Obinna stumbled. Adanne caught him. Their eyes locked. We will make it, she whispered. Just before dawn, they reached the summit. The old shrine stood in crowns, cracked stones, vines, and ancestral markings scorched by time. But at the center was a circle of fire, still burning, untouched by wind or rain. Mama Nneka had told her, you must burn the bond in the fire where it began. Adanne placed her palm against Obinna's cracked cheek. His skin was hurt, burning from within. Are you ready? Obinna's eyes glowed. Do it. She raised the ritual blade from her satchel, a thin dagger carved from obsidian and bone. She cut her palm, then his, and let their blood mix into a single drop onto a stone with ancient carvings. The shrine shook. From the flame, the demon rose again, but larger, its voice now shaking the mountain. You cannot bind me again. I was here before your ancestors were born. Adanne held her ground. She stepped into the fire, screaming the ancestral words Mama Nneka had whispered into her ears days before. Words that were never to be written, only spoken. The demon lunged, but just as its claws reached her, the stone beneath their feet split open, releasing a gust of golden wind. The air hollowed with voice of long-dead ancestors. The fire swallowed them all. For a moment, all was fire and wind. The earth screamed, the mountain wept, and then silence. No birds, no breeze, just Adanne kneeling inside the burning circle, her eyes wide open, face streaked with tears and ash. Obinna lay beside her, barely breathing. His skin, once covered in glowing pimples like seals, was now clear, smooth, almost too smooth. The cracks were gone, but so was the light in his eyes. Adanne turned slowly. The demon, no longer a form of smoke and horn, had now drawn into a single coal-black stone resting in the center of the circle, still pulsing faintly. She reached for it, but her hands burned. A voice whispered from the wind, "It is not meant to be touched. It must be buried where no soul remembers." Mama Nneka appeared at the hill's edge, leaning heavily on her staff. "You did it, child. You sealed it again, but at a cost." Adanne looked at Obinna. He's fading. Mama Nneka knelt beside them, her old fingers tracing the boy's chest. The vessel is empty. He was never meant to survive the full binding. He knew that. Adanne wept. Then why? Why did he let me come? Because you were the mirror, and the mirror must reflect until the image is whole. Obinna stared, his lips buried and moved. Adanne, she leaned close. Yes, I'm here. I saw you in the fire. You glowed like the sun and the sun. Then he was still. They buried Obinna at the shrine's base, beneath the udala tree that had watched over them since the first whisper. Mama Nneka marked the grave with a stone carved in both names, Obinna, the vessel, Adanne, the mirror. The demon stone was sealed in a clay jar wrapped with cowries, feathers, and ashes from the fire circle. Mama Nneka carried it to the deep part of the forest, where even the spirits lost their way. It was buried in silence. Back in Umuokpara, the skies brightened, the strange weather ceased, babies stopped crying at midnight, and elders resumed their evening storytelling, as if the air instead had sighed in relief. Adanne, however, did not return the same. Her eyes had seen the ghost and truth. Her soul had tasted flame, and her body carved the final scar, the mark of the last lock, hidden just below her collarbone, shaped like a glowing udala seed. Years passed. Adanne became a healer, trained by Mama Nneka, who eventually passed on and was buried with a staff of firewood and pepper leaves. People came from far villages to see the young woman whose hands healed and whose eyes knew, but none knew her full story, none except the wind. Sometimes, on the eve of the red moon, Adanne would walk to the shrine and place udara fruit on the grave. "Thank you," she would whisper, "for being the boy who bore the burden." And then she would sing a haunting tune, one no one had taught her, one who else remembered, but it calmed the earth and made even the fireflies gather round. One night, as she walked back, a little girl from the village stopped her. "Auntie Adanne, is it true you touched the cursed boy's face?" Adanne smiled. "I didn't just touch it, I understood it." The child looked puzzled. "But wasn't he scary?" "No," Adanne whispered. "He was sacred." From that night on, the village began to tell a new tale around the fire, not of demon or fear, but of a girl who touched what no one dared to, and in doing so, saved them all. But still, some warned their daughters, "If you see a boy with strange marks, leave him be thee, let him be. Don't touch, don't stare, and if you must speak, say nothing curious." Because legend lived, even when the fires burned low and the spirit realm, though quiet, listened. Adanne grew older, their hair grew like storm clouds, but the mark on the chest never faded. The odala trees at the shrine bloomed every dry season, even when the rest of the forest withered. It was said that on the night of her death, the cloud formed the shape of a pimple face in the sky, and the rain fell sweeter than palm oil and palm wine. And in the silence after her final breath, the wind whispered again. If only they knew, they wouldn't have feared the pimple, because the greatest curse are not what we see, but what we never understood. And the bravest heart are the ones that reach for the truth anyway. What if the boy with the strange pimples were more than what seemed? In this gripping African folktale, a curious village girl named Adanne defies tradition and touches what no one else dared. Obinna mysterious, glowing face, but what begins as a curious unraveled into a centuries-old course, a forgotten ritual, and a battle between good and evil that only she can stop.